Hey folks, today we're going to look at a follow-up to my In the Mood easy piano tutorial, and this is going to look at the secondo part, the accompaniment, and show you the notation for that, how the two parts fit together in the right and left hand. We're going to look at how you can play it using just the left hand accompaniment and taking the right hand primo part that my original video showed, and we'll also look at how you can take some blues scales to improvise in your right hand over the left hand accompaniment. So first off, the accompaniment at the end of part one showed you how you could use a chordal right hand part and a sort of walking bass left hand. So we're going to start with that. So that was like the first section of it. The chords used here then, we've got, all the chords have an added sixth or seventh, so we've got a C chord with an added sixth here. And they're all designed to be played in a similar position, so your right hand doesn't have to move very far each time. Then an F9 chord, back to the C6 chord, a G9 chord, and at the end we kind of go through a C chord, a sort of F sharp diminished chord, D minor 7, and we arrive back at C at the end. Now, don't worry if that sort of theory element sounds a bit too complex. It doesn't really matter. The point is you can find all those chords in quite an easy position. And what we're doing is we're putting them with a walking bass left hand. With the only real variation to a totally standard pattern being that little descending bit at the end. Now that's quite simple to play on its own, relatively, the left hand walking bass. So what you can do, you can learn the full accompaniment as I played at the start with the chords, with the walking bass. There's some syncopated rhythms there, as in most of the time the right hand is playing off beat. Okay, if the left hand is kind of following the beat very directly, the right hand's playing somewhat offbeat. So that's it, slightly slowed down there for you. So let's take a look at the section B accompaniment as well. This follows it's like a repeat of the end of section A. So you've got this is followed by a little slide down. Okay, so left hand E, D sharp, D, G. Right hand, as I say, you've got the C chord, the kind of F sharp diminished chord, diminished seventh chord, and then you've got this F sharp and D sharp, nice and fits nicely with the thumb and the little finger, sliding down to an F and D natural, and then finishing off with that G. It's a G7 chord actually, so you could do the G9 from before. I tend to do just a G7 here. So in total we've got so 3 times in total. Try and really bring out that with an accent, because it mimics a horn part from the original big band version that I can remember. And then to finish, or you can do it an octave higher. You won't be able to see that in my right hand quite, but repeating G's, then E and C to finish. And then that would typically go back to another A section. So what else we can do is we can take going back to the melody now that we learned before, we can just put that with the left hand. I say just, okay, this is obviously a more complex thing to do than just playing the right hand, but they fit together quite nicely. So really what's going on there, almost all of the time, now we're using that swing rhythm in our right hand, so, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, because it's in a swing style, rather than kind of straight 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But the idea is there's 2 notes, the quavers in the right hand, there's 2 of those for all those crotchets in the left hand. If you see what I mean. Now the pattern is of 3, so sometimes that can seem trickier because we're also sort of thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the part that sometimes gets people, but it's actually two notes in the right hand for every one in the left. And if you've got that swing element to it, then it's going to sound stylistically correct. Even at the end, that kind of carries through. 1 and 2 and 3. The only difference, of course, at the end is that we now got minims, so 2 beat notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Just a little push on that last note. Okay, so you can use a combination of those things. You could even do a version with the chords down here in the right hand. And something like that in there as well, but again, that's going to be, more complex still. The other thing you can do, similar to what you could do with the section A melody, is so just take the left hand notes and pop it underneath with the right hand melody to make it sort of manageably a step up. And then probably if you're doing that, you'd go to the higher G, which is just off screen here. Okay, last part I want to look at here then is just how we can take a couple of scales, blues scales, and we could improvise, because this is jazz music, so standardly we would perhaps follow the main melody with some improvisation. So there's 2 scales: C major blues scale, C minor blues scale, and we can use both of those to improvise over that left hand walking bass. So this is just a demonstration. So I used a mixture of the two. Reason being, when we play the C organ bass, the C broken chord, the major one fits better because you've got that E natural. When we go to F, it's the minor one. It tends to work better. And the G, well, either one can work. I think I often stick with the minor one here, even though you've got that sort of B flat over B thing. And I did vary it a bit because I went back to F, actually, when I played that left-hand pattern, whereas originally we would have just stayed on the G and done the descent at the end. So I varied it a little bit, but you can see how we can use the two different scales there. Now that looks complicated, I get it. So the way to start with that is just pick 2 or 3 notes from each of the scales. Let's, something that makes it characteristic, maybe the D sharp, E, G. And it's all about rhythm as well, I'm trying to play a little bit off beat, but I'm using small phrases that just repeat. Move to F, you could still stay around right in the same area. Let's use the, D sharp or E flats, F and G still. Okay, and then because we're going back to C, I might go back to the original thing. Going to G, maybe something slightly different, using the minor blues scale. Then perhaps finish on a C, because that's our tonic note, so it works to finish down there. Okay, now there's so many different levels of complexity you can do that with. You could pick 1 or 2 notes, 2 or 3 notes. You can just try playing the scale up and down over it to practice the scale and the left hand. And we'll switch to minor. Major. Say minor. But out of interest, that sort of works. I just finished there with almost the tune from In the Mood, the melody, because we know that bit, so why not? That gives you an idea, and it takes practice, it takes some trial and error as well to see what works. But I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that if you watched my original video, that will help you to develop further what you may have started learning previously and show you more about that accompaniment, the chords, some of the theory, and then improvising too. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you again soon.